Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's Love Energy reading. For those of you who are new, my name is Jane. Welcome. I'm super happy to have you here. So as always, we do two collective readings. One reading for the people who are in existing relationships and the second reading for people who are single. These are just meant to help you think of things in a new way, to offer a new perspective, or to maybe even offer a new approach to an issue. All right? So go ahead and click the timestamps in the description box in the comment thread down below, and I'll see you in just a sec. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the relationship reading for the week. Now, I've been doing this where the left-hand side signifies the energy of the person watching and the right-hand side signifies the energy of your other person. Keep in mind that these could be a little bit flip-flopped, and that's going to be up to you, though, to kind of work that out in your mind. I'm going to be talking about this as though this is you, though, okay? Now, before we actually get from one side to the other, I actually want to start in the middle because this card here says strengthening bonds. And this is a good week for that as we are coming off of this eclipse. We often talk about the buildup and the actual eclipse itself, but we don't often spend time looking at the coming off energy or looking at the down part of this. And I know that we have a new moon eclipse, so we're not entirely out of eclipse season yet. So this new moon eclipse is still coming in the next week or so. And there's this whole quality of, Taurus really brought out the self-reliant component, right? All of us sort of being on our own, doing our own thing, taking care of ourselves, doing our own business, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But as this moon comes off, there does seem to be a yearning or a desire for extraordinary closeness. And I feel with this King of Chalices or this King of Cups here, especially for those of you who identify more heavily with the divine feminine energy, that you are wanting to come into this more divine feminine place and wanting your masculine, your counterpart to come into their divine masculinity and actually to actually be far in those poles, to be deeply feminine or deeply masculine, because that's what I see. I see a very stark contrast between masculine and feminine in this particular card. And with the Lovers here and with the Fool here and with the King of Wands over here and King of Swords as well, I mean, I feel like that is, there's a lot of women over here, there's a couple of men, kings over here, and there just seems to be like a need or a yearning for that polarity and to be solely in one polarity. Now, it doesn't mean that you internally are polarized. It doesn't mean that you are out of balance, if I could talk. It just means that together, that polarity or those types of energy are wanting to really complement one another in kind of extreme ways. One being extraordinarily surrendered and one being extraordinarily empowered. Now, I don't see this as being like full on S&M, surrender, dominance, not like that, okay? It's just more a feeling. The divine feminine seems like she wants to be contained and cared for with this card, and the divine masculine seems like he wants to behave in that container role. And so I feel like there's this sort of sinking into a beautiful unity, but that unity is found through contrast. And hopefully both of you can be up for that, or hopefully both of you can be aware of that need or aware of that desire. Now, if you feel like maybe your partner is a little bit in the clouds, not paying attention, maybe not dedicating enough energy to you, right? Expectations lead to disappointment. This is not something that you can just expect. It has to be something that you communicate. Now, the good news is we have Mercury in Sagittarius right now, and we know that Mercury in Sag is like super no filter communication. I mean, that's a very stereotypical Sagittarian it's a part of that archetype, is just like saying whatever comes to your mind. And Mercury is very active here. So you don't have to stew on things. You don't have to, hold back. Because what I see with this Seven of Swords and the Queen of Swords reversed is that I'm getting this sense that you are thinking something and you're holding yourself back from saying it because you don't want it to create a fight. You don't want it to create an argument. You don't want it to create an issue, that you're kind of more peace oriented and you would prefer to not rock the boat, as it were. However, I actually suggest rocking the boat, because by rocking the boat, you're going to get that heat, you're going to get that honesty, you're going to get that truth out there. And this is all for the sake of strengthening the bond. If one partner is holding back and not communicating, or is like shaming themselves for feeling a certain way, or, work going through in cycles in their mind, and kind of sometimes it can be a kind of a detrimental cycle. One thing leads to the next thing that leads to the first thing, and it just goes back and forth. If you find yourself there, it's not going to be helpful to stay there. In fact, I look at this Lovers card and I feel like unburdening yourself is actually what is going to truly bring these two sides of the puzzle here truly together to interlock. And I love this card that says all about you. And for those of you who are here, it can be all about you. It absolutely can be. Because I'm wondering if you haven't allowed it to be all about them for a little while. Because I remember the past readings week after week, there was a kind of a separate togetherness going on, and your partner had, its outside focus, and this whole side was all about like their own new beginnings, their own new belief that may or may not have, included you. And sometimes that can feel a little lonely, or it can feel very isolating. But this is you really speaking up and saying, hey, I really need this closeness, right? I really need this love. I really need this sexual union. I need to feel contained and safe, and I need a safe space to truly surrender here. Hopefully your partners will be all up for that, because with the masculinity of the king showing up on this side. Now, I know that, again, this may be flip-flop. Not everyone is going to relate heavily to this side. And even if you're a female person, you may still relate a lot more to the divine masculine, and that's totally fine. And this quality here is just proud to be in that role, but sometimes they need to know that they need to step into that role because it is needed. Because they still seem to be a little outwardly focused, as a divine masculine often is. A divine masculine is, I use the word penetrative, right? It likes to penetrate things, right? And that's kind of a very sexual reference, but it is also, like a spaceship penetrating space, or building something. You have to penetrate the earth in order to dig the foundation. You penetrate the future, if you will. It's a very masculine kind of energy. So they may be busy doing those kinds of things. And they may be having a lot of uplifting experiences, but that can also leave someone here feeling like they aren't necessarily a part of it. Even if you talk about it all the time, if they're off doing it on their own, you might not feel like you are included. So I feel that this side is really demanding attention from their partner right now. Because with this Four of Cups, I feel that there's a nonchalance. Not on purpose, not intentional. It's just that they're just thinking about things differently. They're experiencing the eclipse in a different way. They're experiencing their own astrological transits in a very specific way. So the only way for this union to truly strengthen, for this bond to truly strengthen, is for this side to start making some demands. And I don't mean ultimatums or whatever, but saying like, hey, partner, I need you to spend, a couple of hours with me in bed today. I need you to really be interested in what I have going on. Not that they're not, they are, especially for those of you who have loving partners. It's just sometimes they don't express it in the way that you want them to express that at the time that you need them to express it. Does that make sense? So to be very clear and to be very concise with the needs is very important. I don't want to see this side accommodating, because I feel that that has been a little bit of an undertone the past few weeks. But moving into Sagittarius is also, while it is a very good at love kind of zodiac sign, it is also highly self-reliant. Let's be honest, okay? It's not usually known for the codependent qualities, which could come through like with a Virgo or a Pisces, Gemini, Libra, like with the dualities there, you know. I mean, we all have the potential for that, but the Sagittarian archetype itself is highly independent. So we are in Sagittarius season now, and so this is a time for you to really stand in your own, but to stand in your own for the sake of the relationship. Because you still also have your own things going on, your job, your work, your tasks, your errands, just like they have, you know. But now is a time to really say, hey, like, I'm going to need you to really just like hold me. I need you to contain me, to provide this protective quality around me so that I can just feel safe. And maybe that's what it is. It's just a really strong desire to feel really safe within the connection. And it might not be like a long-standing thing. You might just need like a day for that. You might just need a few hours, some of you. And then you're fine, and then it's all good. But sometimes it does have to be all about you, especially if you feel disconnected. And I don't think people who are in loving partnerships want their partner to feel disconnected. That's not what they want. That's not the intention. It's just what is naturally occurring. So this is the moment where you have to consciously choose to come back together, because the people that are not consciously choosing to come back together, who are continually stewing and processing and thinking things over and over and over in their mind, the people who are doing that are the people who are likely going to continue to drift away from their partners, and that may eventually lead to a breakup or just added tension, added arguments or whatever, because you don't rectify the situation immediately. This could be, you know, an immediate rectification. So you notice that you're veering off a little bit course, and then boom, you address it. So boom, then you go back together. This is the work that is needed for two very different people to maintain a life where they both can run parallel with one another. That can be a difficult thing to achieve, but it is very, very possible, and a lot of people do it, right? A lot of people stay married for a long time. A lot of people stay together for a long time. A lot of people commit and get married, you know? I mean, it happens all the time. So it's not like this is out of the ordinary, but it does take consciousness, and it does take intention, and it does take purposeful communication, okay? Let's pull out a couple oracles. I didn't pull out any, like a new oracle deck. I just have my old ones from last week. So we're just going to use those. Sorry for the noise. I think the cat found something on the floor. Okay. Sensuality. Express your sensuality. And like, that's the thing, is you are going to be feeling quite sexual. You are going to be feeling quite amorous. And your partner likely will be feeling that way as well. So it's not like it's, you know, too much of an ask. Like, hey, let's have sex. You know, it's not too much of an ask. But it is a way to connect in a way that doesn't involve the external world. You get to harness that life force within you, that creative force within you. You get to enjoy your physicality, enjoy one another, enjoy each other's energies and spirits, and it's a place where you can just really be you and let down all the masks. because maybe both of you are just getting a little bit tired of wearing all the masks with all the roles that you have to fulfill and all the obligations that you have to fill, right? And sometimes that gets a little bit heavy. And this is a moment for you to drop all of that, come together, and just really be authentically you together. Okay, and now we have the vulture spirit. Nothing is wasted. I feel like this is an opportunity. I don't want to see you waste it. I don't want to see you like hold back and waste the moment. Because a lot of growth can happen right now during these eclipses. A lot can happen during the eclipses. A lot can happen during Sagittarius season and on into Capricorn season. We do have Neptune going direct this week. So there is this quality of, energetic forces and deep emotion, incredibly potent energies of love, so take advantage of where we are astrologically. I don't think you'll regret it. Okay? All right. I'm going to see you guys next week. All right. Love you so much. Take care. Alrighty, so this reading is for the people who are single. Now, I'm going to read this for those of you who are new. The left-hand side I'm going to read as though it is your energy, and the right-hand side I'm going to read as though it is the external world. Now, I accidentally pulled out 5 cards instead of 4, so you guys got an extra card today. And I kind of want to start actually over here in terms of like what is going on out there, quote unquote, in the world. Okay. We all know that when the world shows up, it indicates that there's like a turnover happening. People who are single, who have been single, who are looking for love, but who are also growing and healing, right? We have the heal card in the very center of the reading. When you're going through this growth process or this development process, sometimes it can feel like you're changing so rapidly that the people that you might be interested in today might not be the people that you are interested in 6 months from now, because that's how rapid your growth actually is. And that can feel a little bit defeating sometimes because you're like, well, what's the point of even doing it? Now, previous weeks, there's been so much optimism and so much limitlessness and sense of belief and how important that belief truly is. Now, I don't think that you are losing your belief by any stretch of the imagination, but I also think that there's a grounding or a coming off of that, because sometimes that can feel like a drug, right? It can feel like, oh, your body is releasing all these chemicals, and it can feel very ungrounded. And I feel like you are finding a grounding this week. But I know that dating-wise, what I'm actually seeing with this King of Coins and this Justice, and even with the High Priestess, but not the High Priestess as your energy, but as other people, specifically other women, as you are out there viewing other women, especially women who are getting in relationships, right? Whether you're people you follow on social media or whether people that you just personally know, you might be witnessing people coming together with this Justice card. Witnessing people committing, getting married, having children together, doing the things that maybe you are hoping to have in your life. And maybe in the past there were mixed emotions about that, right? Because on one hand, there may be jealousy, which I often see with High Priestess reversed. But I also know that you're evolved past that, or you are evolving past that. And so it's not jealousy anymore. It's genuine happiness. And it's actually something that helps to feed your own belief that it is in fact possible for you. And what you're seeing are other potential others, right? Whether men or women or whatever, right? You're seeing other people of the group of the people that you would like to attract, right? So if you're looking for a man, so to say, because we've got a King of Coins over here. So if you're searching for a man, you see men who are willing to commit, do the Justice Libra thing, right? They're willing to come together in relationships, which may be, a little disorienting for people who have had issues with getting people to commit. This doesn't have to be a man, right? It could be a woman or something else, right? It doesn't matter, but the other person. So in the past, though, if you have had problems with getting that commitment or getting that balance or getting that level of love, but you're witnessing it within other people, what I'm sensing is that the universe is telling you how close it is to you. That was a very roundabout way of saying what I just said, but it's happening to people that you know. You're seeing it happen. You're seeing people to come together. You're seeing healthy relationships. You're seeing people committing and getting married. Therefore, it's in your energy. Because in the past, you may have seen everybody breaking up, right? Which was kind of feeding that fear of like, oh, love is a little bit hard, or you have to work really hard or whatever, right? It's going to feed that narrative. But since you are healing and since you are changing, you're starting to see others experience that. It is the universe's way of saying, hey, you are so close. And I think this temporary card came out last week too, if I remember correctly. It's temporary. Where you are now, and I love this, like a flower, you will blossom. Healing, like a flower, you will blossom, and that this is temporary here. And this Four of Coins is kind of an interesting card as well, because she is very surrendered and just very relaxed in her chair, and she's just letting her partner just do whatever he wants to her, right? And she's just sitting back and allowing herself to enjoy that. And I feel like this surrendered place is so critical for that attraction. Again, I also think we talked about that last week as well, that the surrender is what pulls things in. And when you see it for other people, you know that you're attuning properly, that what you're doing is working, and the shifts that's going on in your head, the shifts that's going on in your mind and in your heart, that they are not without their effects. See, even Annie thinks so. They're not without their effects. Now your energy over here, Six of Cups, Four of Coins, Knight of Coins, and Ten of Swords reverse. See, the Ten of Swords reverse is an indication that you are no longer willing to stay in the prison of your mind when it comes to relationships. You're not willing to see toxicity. You're not willing to see non-committal partners. You're not willing to see emotionally unavailable people. You're only willing to see people who are stable and healthy and healed themselves. You are only willing to see people who are willing and able and capable of commitment. Your whole mind is shifting, and you're going to start seeing it more and more and more, and that's a good sign. If you are someone who sees it in someone else and gets the pangs of jealousy or envy, or gets the pangs of feeling issues with the self-worth, that's a time for you to continue, to take a step back, recognize that this is your Ten of Swords, the thing that has been victimizing you, right? The mind and how it victimizes itself. And that's all it is. It is just the mind victimizing itself, validating past experiences, and is therefore no longer valid. And you have this ability to cast it away. And the Six of Cups is a very fantastical quality. I see the projection of fantasy, and with Neptune going direct, and with Mars coming into the Moon Deacon of Scorpio, which I talked a little bit about in my astrological video that I did on Wednesday, Mars coming into the Moon Deacon offers extensive healing in terms of, right, the scorpionic energetic exchange. Healing how you give and receive energy with other people. Neptune enables you to project a fantasy of a warm, loving, and accepting relationship. And I look at this Four of Coins, and sometimes I can see that as like a clinging or a stubbornness, but in this particular context, I definitely don't see that. What I see is a clinging to the belief of the perfection, the perfectly imperfect, if I can say it that way. You don't seem willing to let go of the belief. Even though that high intensity Uranian energy is waning, and a lot of people got sick after that eclipse. A lot of people got headaches. They got sore throats. They got, because that was next to a fixed star, Algol. I think it was Algol. Now I'm second guessing myself. Was it Algol? I think it was. And that's a really difficult fixed star. I didn't even mention that in my astrological videos. I definitely should bring in more fixed stars into my readings. I just like to keep my readings simple, but that was something I definitely should have mentioned. That Algol star, that fixed star, it brings out a lot of stuff, and coming off of that can feel like a drug withdrawal. Okay, and so some physical symptoms are highly possible, but it doesn't mean that you lost the belief. It doesn't mean that you have released that. It's just not as loud. And Neptune going direct is going to continue to push that fantasy forward. And this Knight of Coins is the determination to continue with the healing and to continue to do the best that you can do in your life, that you know how to be, and continue to grow in consciousness, and to hold that faith that the inner work that you do will actually have positive effects in attracting someone who is very, very special and important for you. I think it's a beautiful moment for the singles right now, because you get to be the best that you have ever been, which means you get to attract the type of people that you have never attracted before. You're opening up, right, the world. You are opening up the realm of possibility here just simply by doing your inner work. They always say, right, be the change that you wish to see in the world. Well, what you want to see are healthy, non-traumatized individuals ready to commit, and therefore that is also what you are becoming. It's a process to be enjoyed. Let's pull out a couple of oracles. Of course, Annie is sleeping on the cards. There you go, baby. Okay. And we have, there is always enough. See, when you look out into the world, you don't see scarcity. You don't see, and that's maybe why you're seeing a lot of other people getting in relationships. It's just that reminder of, like, there are literally 7 billion people in this world. Basically an infinite number, right? There has to be at least one person, right? There's multiple people out there that you could easily have a relationship with. And when you don't see the scarcity of things, then you are opening yourself up to the abundance of things by default. Okay? And then we have raise your standards, which you have. You have because you have for yourself. In terms of your own health, in terms of your own habits, in terms of your lifestyle, in terms of your financials, in terms of everything about yourself. You've risen your standards. You've held yourself up to a higher calling. And that's a beautiful thing. And I know that a moment will come, and I'm not here. This is a collective reading, so I'm not going to say when it's going to happen, because you are all on your own time frames. And that's why I like these collective readings. A lot of people don't like them because it doesn't validate them, right? It doesn't satisfy their ego and what they are experiencing in life and their narrative of what they're experiencing. So I can't tell you when. But I can tell you that it will. And hopefully that faith in that is enough to really keep you going and to keep you on this track, because this track that you are on is incredibly beautiful. and has a high likelihood of really paying out. Okay? All right, you guys, I'm going to leave you with that. Have an amazing week. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.